I don't talk to her much anymore because she would complain about her husband or the dynamic that she signed up for. I said, you chose him. And maybe there's some things you didn't know, or maybe you're different now. What do you want to do about it now? Just no acceptance of who he is. This is him. What do you want to do about it? Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Not Your Asian Women podcast. I'm Christine Chang.
I'm Shining.
Today, we're going to complain about our spouses. I'm just kidding. We're going to talk about...
we're in a healthy marriage, of course. We complain.
We're going to talk about complaining about your spouse, because this is an interesting topic, because I actually don't think that it should be normal to complain. Frustration and things, yes. And I have never heard you really complain or talk bad about your husband. That speaks a lot.
Oh, yeah, because daddy makes money, so who makes money? Who's daddy? I don't say shit.
Have you heard me complain about Pete before?
In a harmless way.
But
like,
more
I
just
talk
like,
shit.
Right, but more like I'm annoyed or something, but not like complain about like his character. Or have I ever sounded like contempt or like I'm trying to like push him down?
No, never
Okay.
in a way I feel like there's no ounce of love when you talk about him. Because
there's a distinction there.
There is. I had a girlfriend who would call me on a regular basis and complain about her husband. And I could not, in a way that made me feel she didn't love him anymore. And she was talking about, there's no like infidelity. People think that, cheating is the big factor to break up a couple. It's actually not. It's the details, little small things.
Mm-hmm.
And she would complain about the same thing, made me feel that she didn't want to be with him anymore. And so, because I am solution oriented, when I heard that, I was like, okay, now what do you want to do? Is divorce what you're thinking about? If it is, then research a lawyer, transfer your assets and retirement funds, and make sure that you are able to get back on your ground because you do have a kid together. And how do you want to the custodies and your income, make sure that that's the bottom line to take care of. So I went into details of how to practically help her. And obviously, she didn't listen. And then next week, she'd call me and she would complain about the same thing, calling me crying in the middle of the night and saying the same shit. And finally, I had enough. And I realized that she wasn't going to take any step forward to solve this problem. And he wasn't going to change. Mm-hmm. And it's not my fucking problem no more, because it is really, my time is valuable too. So I basically cut off that relationship, and she would call and I would never pick up again. I think that was pretty clear sign that, bitch, I don't want to listen to your drama no more.
Yeah, I've experienced similar.
Yeah, one thing is fun. We talk shit because I'm a comedian. We talk shit, obviously. But in a funny way. If something that really bothers me about my husband, I'd go to him. I talk to him about it. There's no point of talking to any of my girlfriends. You're not sleeping with him. What kind of advice you gonna give me? So that's basically like my understanding. And also, to me, is common sense. If you, this is my teammate. If I make him look bad, that speaks volumes about myself. That's part of me. That's someone I chose as a family. It's extension of me. I want people to look up to him like I do. So yeah, that's just common sense to me.
Strong coffee company. What do you think?
This is
perfect for lazy bitches like me. You can just pour the powders in and put hot water. You wouldn't believe it. My eyes was smaller than this. But after that, I'm awake.
Use code.
Oh, yeah.
What's our code? Not your Asian women at
Yeah.
checkout for a nice little discount.
Enjoy your new crack.
What were your
Very
experiences
similar
with?
to. I don't talk to her much anymore because she would complain about her husband or the dynamic that she signed up for. I said, you chose him. And maybe there's some things you didn't know, or maybe you're different now. What do you want to do about it now? But it's the same thing, and just no acceptance of who he is. This is him. What do you want to do about it? Right? And some people, maybe they're not ready for a solution or whatever, but like you, my time's important. And it's just, if it's been years of the same thing, I'm like, why? Like, clearly you guys aren't on the same team. And with couples like that, I don't even want to be around them. It's not good juju. It's not good energy. It can be very awkward too. Because if they're fighting, then the friends feel like, do I need to take a side with someone? It's super awkward. I really hate that energy. So,
Same.
right? If you choose someone, I'm like, you should have a basic level of respect for them and be on the same team. And that's always what's been comfortable for me. And with the couples that we do hang around, we are very particular. I'm like, do we want to be like them? Do I feel like they're a positive influence? Right? Because you become that. If you're hanging out with a bunch of people who are in not healthy relationships, that feels normal to you. And you tend to hang around, right? If you're single and then you're perpetually hanging out with your other chronically single friends, you guys tend to be single. In general, that's what happens, right? But if one of you is wanting to get married or meet someone, maybe you can start hanging out with your friends who are in relationships more, just to see. So you kind of attune to that. What's the expectation here? How are they showing up? That was helpful for me before I got married. I looked up my married friends, like, which marriages here do I admire? So I could see not only the good, but what they have to put up with and tolerate. For example, I have a friend, they've been married over 20 years. And I see she's hosting dinner. And she said she was so annoyed when we got over. If you've ever hosted together, a lot of stuff comes up. She's like, I asked him to go to the store. I said, can you get some appetizers and light bites? Look at what he brought back. And it's just like a bag of nuts or, just something. And then this is after 20 years, right, of her saying like, oh, maybe get a charcuterie board. It's just, he just doesn't know it. And I'm like, is this really what happens? Like 20 years? And there's some things that there isn't just going to click for them. And another example is my guy friend had been with his wife for a long time, and he didn't know, he wanted to bring her back something. We're at the mall, like, I'm going to bring her back a snack. What should I get her? And to me, I was like, shouldn't you know this? I'm like, I know her. Get her a slice of pizza and a cupcake, this flavor cupcake from this. That'll make her really happy. I knew. I didn't have to think. And for him, he was just unsure. And to be fair, she is very particular, so maybe it makes him unsure. But at first I was like, oh, I just assumed, because I thought if you've been with someone for a long time, you should know, But there's just something maybe your girls will be more intuitive about, right? And my girlfriends do know if I'm craving something, they'll be like, oh, get the boba and make sure it's not too sweet. They just know, where Pete might take a little more direct, he needs just like specific words, maybe even a photo, to know exactly what I want. And to be fair, I do want to set him up for success, and I've learned through the years, people are just different. Anyways, it gave me a nice gauge of like what to expect. Like, oh, maybe in 20 years, Pete still won't get certain things about me. And that's okay. He has other strengths. There's other things that he understands about me.
Yeah, that's true. Like, that's just the reality of marriage. Your spouse is not one-stop shop. He can't be your friend's brother, girlfriend, dad, mom. Everything reads your mind. It just, if that, like, soulmate is such a messed up concept. What the fuck is like soulmates? You can't even stand yourself sometimes. The fuck you expect another person just walking your life to know what you want, what you think at all times. Right. That's just not reality. And then people have different struggles in life, and he can't be always patient with you. You can't do that to him, for him either. So that to me is like common sense. And also, like, I don't know. It's like, for me, if I really can't stand this person, I've already left him.
Yes.
There's no point of complaining. To me, like, complaining is useless.
Wasted energy.
Yeah. I have a girlfriend. Her husband is kind of like oblivious to house chores and things, and will just kind of walk past by leaked refrigerator, would just forget certain things, pile up dirty dishes. It's just small things like that. Mm-hmm. And she kept complaining about the same thing. I finally had enough, and I said, have you thought about a solution? Like, do a shared calendar, alert him, or write out a mood board and put up on the refrigerator. Give him like a to-do list, and if you think that's too mothering, divorce. I don't understand. I don't understand why, if that bothers you so deeply, because it is one thing is about like just harmless little like annoyings. We all have that.
Yes.
Another is like same thing happening over and over again, and you, instead of complaining and not work towards it as a couple or come up with a solution to fix that, you're insane. That's definition of a insane person. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's like as common sense as that. And I also said, oh, okay, so I would like hint that have you thought about doing couples therapy? Mm-hmm. To hint like, hey, I'm not your fucking therapist.
Yes.
I don't know the fuck going on in your household, and I've presented the solutions that I know can help you, and you don't want to help, or you don't want to try, or you don't think that's helpful, then I'm not your fucking punch bag or trash can.
Seriously.
I'm not your trash can to just dump all your vomit to. So that's like a negative energy. I don't like.
Totally. I mean, if you're looking at just someone to vent the same stuff over and over, then pay someone. I just don't. I mean, but to people who live like that, that's normal to them.
Yeah. And it's actually very common. I've heard a lot of feedback from female followers that they'd say that when they get together these days, all their friends complain about is their husbands and talk about their kids and all that. It's like hard to connect anymore. So I'm like, yeah, maybe it's time to reconsider a friends group or pick up another hobby and connect with different community that's uplifting. Yes. To me, it's like, I'm an old bitch. Like, I get tired, exhausted, and I value the time I spend with people. And if I don't feel at least peace and calm, I don't need you to be useful to me. I'm not like that. But basic line is I need to feel peace and calm. If I don't have that, I'm not going to spend time with you.
Right. And the constant complaining is just, it's not pleasant to be around. Yes, as a friend, of course you're allowed to have bad moments and stuff, but if that's you most of the time and it's the same thing, yeah, that does not work for me. Just, I mean, have you heard of people who go to therapy and they've been in therapy for 17 years or more than that? I always think, like, I'm like, are you just talking about the same thing over and over? And they must be, right? But in my mind, I think, what is the point of that? Because you're reliving the same story over and over. Therapy has its place 1000%. I'm a big advocate of it. I've been to therapy several times. May need to go again soon. But after a certain point where you process the feelings, you have to make some proactive changes in your life.
And the thing is, I learned most people don't want to get helped. They just want to vent. And
well, they can go hang out with other people who want to vent too then.
Exactly. And just shout out to all the therapists out there. I can't do what you do. That's fucking crazy. If I hear one more bitch complain about the same shit again, I'll like turn off Zoom. I'm like, you said the same thing. I would, and maybe there are clients out there would like my type of
no, it's
therapy
true.
work. I'd be like, have you thought about maybe you are the problem? Sound to me like you're the common denominator. Wake up, bitch.
Yeah. Some people respond well to that. I like that. I like that. And the times I've said things like that and I've posted clips on it, the people who don't want to take accountability get really mad. They get really, really mad because they don't want to take the accountability. It's easier not to.
It's definitely, that's like human nature to feel comfort. And pointing fingers is the easiest way to feel good about yourself. All of your problems are because of someone else caused it. Have you even considered, like, we are all, we're all human and then we're all flawed. And maybe there's a possibility that you've said something and did something to upset other people. And to me, it's like literal common sense. And people just cannot take accountability. If when that's another like red flag. It's like, okay, I'll entertain the time that people want to kind of just vent because we're all pretty lonely and got shit bottled in. And if I sense that every time you complain there's no ounce of accountability whatsoever, it's always other people's fault. Like, oh, I got beaten by my parents or bullied in school or because of this and that, and then got wronged. And the way I look at it is, okay, we've all been wronged. Like, I'm not dismissing your trauma. Everybody has trauma.
Yes, I agree.
And you're gonna fucking tell me that, oh, okay, my trauma isn't as bad as your trauma now? Yes. Are you going to compete traumas?
That's what it feels like.
Grow the fuck up.
No, seriously, the people who do that, I think they're looking for validation, right? Or pity. That's what they're looking for. But it is like competing trauma. And I think yours is not more special than anyone else's, right? It's not. There's also, if you're going to compare, there's actually people who have been through worse than you. What do you say to that?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So that mindset, I don't think is.
They turn off that part of the brain when they hear shit like that. It's like, oh, so you think you're blah, 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 and give you, immediately pointing fingers or think that you're the bad person for not understanding them. I can't deal with any bitches like that. And to me, it doesn't matter your gender. If you do that, you're a bitch. And it, like I've said previous clips too, it's easier to make fun of other people than laugh at yourself. And maybe gain a little sense of just humor to work on your like ego, your pride, and be able to laugh at yourself and not take yourself too seriously. The thing is that people don't want to hear that. Yeah, that's something I can't deal with, and I'd rather be alone. And if like no community I could reach out to satisfy that my need of like being independent and taking accountability, then I'd rather be alone. I don't need nobody if that time I spend does not add any peace or value to me.
Yeah. Well, talking about lonely and being okay alone, I think some people stay in these relationships because they're terrified of being alone. So that is better than them finding or being alone, or maybe finding someone else, maybe not finding someone else.
True. Yeah. A lot of relationships or marriages loveless. Because maybe terrified of being alone. That's true.
It's better just to have someone there, even if you're complaining about them all the time.
Wow, that's crazy.
Right? So they might have a different definition of what marriage is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, to me is like
as long as we're together, like legally and like together, we're together. That to me, if the quality is not there, if it's loveless, if you don't respect each other, if you don't like each other, what is the point?
Trauma bonding or like fear of being alone. That for sure.
Not liking your partner.
That's crazy. Yeah, they are couples like that. They hate. It's not even dislike. They hate each other.
Yes. I mean, that's why whenever there's homicides or whatever, the first person they suspect is
husband,
spouse.
Yeah, spouse. That's crazy to me. Like, you'd rather go that far than just part ways.
Right?
Yeah.
It's easier to
it's
kill
easier
them.
to kill somebody than walk away. Okay, that's a logic, I guess. Yeah, to me, the common sense is, am I happy, content? And if not, then I don't waste I don't waste my energy with this person. As I'm more comfortable being alone, to be honest. I guess if introverted people have easier time being alone.
You're right.
And
independent,
choosy of partnership.
Yes.
Yeah, they can.
Yes, because codependency is a very common thing. Have you heard that term, codependency?
Yeah.
I don't think
Clinginess.
You and I have it. Well, yeah, where you get something out of the other, of your partner. Like there's a mutual grab on to each other, like a certain dependency. I'm butchering this. If you talk to any psychotherapist, they can break it down for you, or just look it up, codependency.
One thing, I've heard is like a narcissistic relationship, that one person has low energy, is more like people pleaser, and is it's an easy prey for narcissistic partner.
Yes.
Because one partner constantly needs validation, seeking for approval, and the other one sees that and just doesn't give it, or give a little bit. And so that's very common too. And that's abusive, kind of.
It is.
Yeah.
I see it as abusive.
Yeah. And we got into trouble because of
Oh, yeah.
something we had said, like, I don't understand it, just walk away. And people would say, oh, it's not that easy. It's addiction. It's blah, blah, blah.
You're blaming the victim.
Life ain't easy, bitch. We try our best to do shit. I can't give you, if you, we're literally giving logical, sharing common sense and helping. Like my girlfriends, for example, when she just crying to me in the middle of the night about the same shit that her husband does. What the fuck do you want me to do? What would you, like, why would I take my time to listen to your complaints, and when I give advice or try to save you, and imagine she's drowning and I throw shit at her and say, bitch, grab my hands and just swim towards me and I'm trying to save your life. And then she's like, oh no, I'm allergic to latex. I don't do floaties. And give me something else. I'm like, okay, drown, bitch. I don't care. You have to help yourself on that. Seek out for help. I understand it's not easy. It's an addiction. With any addiction, food and drugs and all that. And how much do you want other people to understand, to cater to your sensitivity?
Yeah.
I literally don't. I'm not a vicious cunt. Like, if you're my friend, I would try to help, but to an extent. Just like they say, to put your oxygen mask first before you help others. If your shit is disrupting my life, I can't do that. So yeah, I don't.
Yeah, any complaining. I used to know someone who was just a chronic complainer, and she would bitch about her job a lot, but stay at the job. And then one time I said, I'm like, you complain a lot about your job. She's like, I'm allowed to fucking complain about it. And it comes off really entitled. She's like, and you guys have to listen. Like, I'm just going to do it for 5 minutes. But I'm like, what? Because it just doesn't. I'm like, what makes you entitled to think that everyone needs to hear you or wants to hear your bitching? You have skills. You have qualifications. You can look for another job, but you prefer to complain about the same thing and take everyone's time here to complain about the same thing. It's not pleasant to be around. And I actually, some friends don't hang out with her. I don't tolerate that. I'm like, yeah, I don't like that energy. I value people who are proactive and want to be happy. They want to help themselves. I'm not happy in this job. What's actually wrong here? What's not aligning? And what can I look for in the future? That, to me, it's simple. I know maybe it's scary to take leaps and stuff, but hey, I think it beats complaining over and over. It's so fucking exhausting, and clearly you are miserable. And it's Debbie Downer, dude. You're pulling everyone down. I personally don't want to be like that. I look for people who are doing their best. You don't have to have your shit all figured out. You don't have to be thriving all the time and super positive and happy, but that you want to help yourself. You're trying to get there.
Yeah, you have to like show your work. You have to be willing.
The willingness.
If all you do is just want people to feel bad for you, pity you, your life is going to be miserable. And the people that you attract will be either predators who want to take advantage of you, or same low energy people that add zero value, be zero help to your life. You can't count on other people to be your floaties. You have to learn how to fucking swim. That just, yeah. So I don't know if that comes out insensitive. For I don't know. All right, call me a Republican then.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, or share with your friends. Or you know what? Leave a comment. We love comments, whether they're good or bad. Haters,
Please, we love you.
help our algorithm.